Welcome to our class today where you are going to learn how to talk like a native and specifically at work. So you'll learn words, phrases, phrasal verbs, idioms, and expressions you can use at work to sound like a native. Now, first, let's talk about when you're managing work and priorities. Of course, this is something you do every day, and you can use these phrases if you work by yourself, if you work in a small team, in a large team. It does not matter what type of work you do. So you can say, I need to get on top of this. Ooh, I need to get on top of this. I see this a lot. Now, this, when I use this, is when I'm experiencing a problem or a difficult situation. So let's say my website is not working and I don't know why. So I'm trying to fix it. And then I might say to someone or just say out loud, I need to get on top of this. And this is, I need to get on top of why my website isn't working. So we use this when there is a problem or a negative situation, and you want to gain control of that. Now, you can use this with a routine task. Maybe you're just filling out your routine expense report, but there's some sort of negative situation. It's either taking you too long or something isn't working. I need to get on top of this. Yeah, you could use under control, absolutely. But we always have to think of what the grammar is of the sentence. So if you want to use under control, you would say, I need to get this under control. Okay, so the sentence structure would be different. So here, get on top of something. Now, in your sentence structure, to get something under control, to get something under control. And thank you so much for your contribution so I can continue going live. Okay. Awesome job, Manuel. I need to get on top of why I am always late for everything. Excellent sentence. And way to go. Instead of just saying this or that, putting a full clause, starting with a WH. Why? Well done, Manuel. Well done. I love that. Hello, all the way to Morocco. I need to get on top of connection issues. Yeah, exactly. I need to get on top of these connection issues, my connection issues. Exactly. Well done. Okay, how about this? You might be more familiar with this expression. It's always very widely taught by English teachers. This has been on my plate all week. This has been on my plate all week. Ooh, do you know what this means? Well, you can see it right here. This has been on my plate all week. So this is a task. It doesn't have to be a negative task like in the last example. It can just be any task. So I have my tasks here. As you can see, some of them are done, some of them are not. So I could say this has been on my plate all week. Now I could say this is on my plate right now. So the expression is to be on someone's plate. Okay, my plate. This has been on our plate. This has been on my husband's plate. So it has to be possessive to whoever the person is. So it's just saying that it's someone's responsibility. So this has been on my plate. This task, it's my responsibility to complete. All right. So think of something that has been on your plate all week. And instead of this, share it. Share it in the comments. So maybe it could be completing my expenses, filing my taxes, cleaning my kitchen. You don't have to use it just for a work expression. I'm teaching this in the context of work, but think of how it could be outside of work. Maybe it is fixing my kid's costume has been on my plate all week. So it can be something household related as well. Okay, so that is an excellent idiom to have in your vocabulary. So Natalia, oh, hello. And Natalia said, cooking has been on my plate all week. Yeah, exactly. So this is a specific task. So maybe you have to cook a dinner for family that's coming on the weekend. So that task has been on your plate all week. And notice the grammar. It's the present perfect because the verb to be, we don't put that in the continuous form. And it started in the past and it continues until now. Welcome back. I'm so glad you're back in town and you're back to our lessons. That's great. Okay, let's keep going. How about this one? Let's prioritize this before the deadline. So here it's just a regular word, prioritize. It's not a phrasal verb. It's not an idiom. It's not an expression. It's one word, prioritize. But I hear mistakes with this and also the pronunciation. Prioritize, 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 prior. So notice that or is the stress sound. Prioritize, prioritize. Okay, before the deadline. So when you prioritize something, just like I'm sure you have prioritized your English classes, your English studies, your English lessons, whatever it is, you've prioritized preparing for the IELTS, for example, you've said that task is important. So these are all the things I need to do. They are not prioritized. If they were prioritized, I probably would have the most important at the top and then the least important at the bottom. And I would make sure I do this one first. So it's a great thing to do. Prioritize your tasks. Okay, so Hidaki said, language studying has been on my plate all week. It's welcoming busy. I'm not sure what you mean by welcoming busy, but great job for the first part of the sentence. My son's studies, so studies is plural, so are, have always been on my plate. So a few things here. You need have with the present perfect, and you wouldn't use always because always is for the present simple. So my son's studies, plural, have been, no always, have been on my plate all week. All right, we've got part of a correct sentence there. Let's prioritize English lessons before the deadline. Exactly. Now, maybe there isn't a specific deadline, but some things there are. You might have homework to submit. You might have an IELTS deadline. You've already booked your IELTS exam, or I have deadlines for creating English lessons. So for me, there's a deadline as well, but there isn't always a deadline. Thank you. Let's prioritize Jennifer's live video before it ends. Let's do it. Put yes, yes, yes. Let's do it. I love that. Thank you. Let's keep going, everyone. And perfect timing because I already told you to do this. So put yes, yes, yes in the comments. Let's prioritize our English. Let's prioritize learning with Jennifer. I appreciate that. And of course, show your support. Like this lesson, subscribe so you're notified every time I go live. YouTube will notify you. So make sure you subscribe as well. And you can get this free speaking guide. So this is my gift to you. I share 6 tips on how to speak English fluently and confidently. You can look in the description for the link or just go to my website and you will see it. And if you want to get on top of your English, get on top of your English. If you want to make your English a priority, then I highly recommend you join my premium program, the Finally Fluent Academy. This is where you will have the training, the guidance, the support that you need to understand real English and sound fluent in 90 days and beyond. So you can look in the description as well. And thank you so much for your support, Ariel. And yes, 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 let's go. Okay, let's do this. Everyone's excited. How about this? Oh, this is an important one. Native speakers use this a lot, and often students get confused with this. But it's very simple. I'm trying to wrap this up by end of day. So just to wrap something up. I'm trying to complete, finish or complete. So you may hear myself or other YouTubers, course content creators say, let's wrap up. Oh, we're wrapping up in 5 minutes. Oh, we'll wrap up after this slide. So this is used so frequently in a business context and also in a non-business context as well. I'm trying to wrap this up by end of day, end of day. Now notice end of day, I dropped the preposition the end of the day, because end of day is business speak. It's a business term. And often you will see this as an acronym. Okay. So this is due by EOD. In business English, we use a lot of acronyms, So we take phrases like end of day and we turn it into EOD, because have you heard the expression time is money? Time is money. In the business world, we try to do everything as quickly as possible. So it's faster to just write EOD than writing end of day. Okay. So this is due by EOD. Now, for you, EOD might be 5 p.m. because that's when your work day ends. For someone else, their EOD might be 8 p.m. It might be 3 p.m. So whatever time that is for you. Okay, so this is absolutely important one, both the EOD, end of day, and to wrap something up. Even if I were explaining something to you, let's say how to use the present perfect, I might say, I need to wrap this up and move on. So I need to end my discussion of the present perfect and move on to teaching something else, because that actually wasn't the purpose of my lesson. I just need to explain that. So I need to wrap this up. So I'm going to wrap up this slide and move on. Okay. Ooh, this is an important one. Native speakers, we use this as an excuse or as a justification. That task fell through the cracks. So you didn't do something. You forgot, but you want to let the person know it was unintentional, which means you didn't purposely not complete the task. You simply forgot. But it sounds a little more professional to say something like that task fell through the cracks. Now, often we offer an apology. So let's say my boss says, "Hey, Jennifer, where's the updated presentation? It was due EOD." And that was yesterday. It was due EOD yesterday. So today he's like, "Where's the presentation?" So he says, "Hey, Jennifer, where's the updated presentation?" And I go, "Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. It completely fell through the cracks." So it means I forgot, but it's just an alternative way to saying that. So you can use this when you want to admit to someone that you didn't do something, but it was unintentional. Okay. So that is a great one because native speakers use this a lot. Natalia, love this combining expressions. I've got a lot on my plate. I'm trying to wrap this up by EOD, by end of day. Excellent job, Natalia. Way to go. Way to go. All right. And Julia said there are a lot of Okay, I have a lot on my plate, singular plate these days. So one task fell through the cracks. And you don't have to add inadvertently because that word is in the expression. If something falls through the cracks, it means you inadvertently or accidentally or unintentionally didn't do it. Okay, so some improvements here, Julia, for sure, but great start. Let's keep going and we'll talk about meetings and collaboration. Collaboration is simply when you're working with other people. It may not be a formal meeting. You could just have an informal discussion, but you're collaborating. Let's learn some phrases. Oh, yes. Native speakers use this one all the time. Let's touch base. So if I said to you, hey, let's touch base, nothing else. Hey, let's touch base. Let's touch base. Let's touch base. What's it mean? Well, you know, because it's right here. If I say let's touch base, it means I want to talk. I want to connect. We could touch base by text, or we could call each other. We could meet in person. We could Zoom. It could be any way of communication. It does not have to be face to face or even voice. It could just be text. But let's touch base later this afternoon. So let's connect later this afternoon. And it's usually to discuss something specific. Okay. So if there is a project or we're discussing something, we're planning something, there's a problem we're trying to resolve, I might say, let's touch base later this afternoon. And then I can add on the reason why to discuss the project, to finalize the agenda, to fix the website. It's still not working. Let's touch base later this afternoon. So that's a great one. Miriam said, let's wrap this task up. Perfect. And then touch base in the evening. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Awesome job. I love it. Well done. To hang up means to end a phone call. It can also mean to put a jacket on a hanger. You're thinking of to hang out, but that is not the same meaning. When you hang out, you spend time socially. When you touch base, it sounds like you need to connect to discuss something specific. So not the same meaning at all. Okay. Let's keep going, everyone. But yes, you definitely need to know this one. I just want to run something by you. You must know this one, right? Please tell me you know this expression. I'm sure I've taught it 10, 20, 30 times before. I just want to run something by you. I just want to run something by you. So we use this when you want to share an idea, but you want feedback, okay? So you start before you share your idea, you say this because then the person knows that you're inviting them to give you feedback. How can you give feedback? You can say, I like it, I don't like it, we need to change this, we need to add this. So that's how you can give feedback. I know all the time. I've taught this one a lot, yet I still get questions about it or see mistakes with it. Okay. Jennifer always wants to run her teaching skills by her students. You can't run a skill by someone because you need to get feedback. But I frequently run my video ideas by my students. So if you are a subscriber, you will get notified when I post in the community section of YouTube. So every week I share 4 news topic ideas for you to provide your feedback on. So I'm running the idea by you. I want to know which of the 4 topics you want. And then I always record my news review on the most popular choice because my students give me feedback. So I could say Jennifer always runs her video ideas by her students. So that could be a great sentence. All right. I'm trying to touch base later. I'm trying to prioritize learning English. Absolutely. Put it at the top of your list. Make it an important priority. Let's keep going. And hopefully, you know this one as well, because I have also explained this a lot, but it's slightly different. Can you walk me through your thinking? And it's slightly different because usually when I explain this, it's always, can you walk me through the client meeting? Can you walk me through the instructions? Can you walk me through how to update the website? So it's usually a specific task when I've taught this expression. So in this case, can you walk me through your thinking? So let's say my idea is I want to start a new YouTube channel. Okay. So I run my idea by you. And then after I explain my idea, you say this. Can you walk me through your thinking? So you want me to explain in more detail, step by step, how I decided to start a new YouTube channel. So what was the reason? What are my goals? What is my objective? How do I plan to do it? So can you walk me through? So you could replace walk me through with can you explain? Can you explain your thinking? Can you explain in detail your thinking? Now, notice you walk someone through something. So you might say the client walked us through the new updates. The client walked them through the new updates. The client walked the marketing team through the new updates. So it's always someone. Yeah, exactly, Jorge. Why did you do that yesterday? Can you walk me through your thinking? Yeah, so maybe it's even something simple like your kid didn't complete their homework, or your kid had piano lessons and they didn't go. And the piano teacher called you and said, "Hey, your kid didn't show up for piano." And then you want to understand, instead of getting angry, maybe you just want to understand, like, what was your kid's thinking? Why did they do that? Can you walk me through your thinking? Yeah, great job. Let's keep going. How about this? We're not fully aligned on this yet. In the business world, they really love using the word align. Align. But notice here, it's to be aligned. And notice that pronunciation, aligned. Soft D. Aligned. Aligned. To be aligned. So at the end of a meeting, you can say, now that we're aligned, now that we are aligned, let's wrap up. Let's wrap up for the day. Great job, everyone. We're aligned. It means we agree. We agree that the meeting needs to be scheduled on Monday. We agree that we need to update the website. We agree that we need to fire the marketing company we hired. We're aligned. We're not fully aligned on this yet, but notice this is in the negative. So we're not fully aligned. So 8 people want to fire the marketing company. 2 people think the marketing company is doing a great job and we shouldn't fire them. We're not fully aligned. We're not fully aligned. How can we get aligned? Okay. Let's keep going, everyone. Ooh, this is a very important one. Let's table this for now. Let's table this for now. Ooh. Yes. Angelo. Anglo? Anglo word lover? Yes, absolutely. You can say we are on the same page. So this is a great idiom. If you want to replace this with an idiom, you could say we're not on the same page. We're not on the same page yet. Or in the positive, you can say we're on the same page. We're on the same page. So if you're on the same page, you agree. If you're not on the same page, you disagree. So if you're on the same page, you are aligned. If you're not on the same page, you are not aligned. Excellent addition. Thank you. Let's keep going. This is a very important one. Let's table this for now. What does this mean? Let's build a table. Let's put our belongings on a table. Let's find a table. Well, it has nothing to do with a table because this is an idiom, and idioms do not have literal meanings. So yes, you see the word table, but it's used metaphorically. So if you table something, it means you've agreed that you're going to postpone it. So you've decided you're not going to talk about it now. You may or may not talk about it in the future. So remember, 8 people want to fire the marketing company. 2 people want to keep the marketing company. So you're discussing, and then someone says, let's table this for now. So let's stop talking about the marketing company, and maybe we'll talk about it again next week. Maybe we won't talk about it at all, but let's table this. Let's stop talking about it, or let's postpone it. So this is, oh, I like this. Friends, let's table this task and join Jennifer's live. Thank you. And I love it. Oh, I love it. Yeah. If you have for tomorrow, you would use until. Until. For now, because now represents the time. You could say for 2 hours because it's the specific time. But a future date, you would use until. Let's table the meeting until tomorrow. Okay. Let's keep going. How about giving opinions and feedback? This is an important one. You need to do this in a work situation and in an everyday situation as well. From my perspective, this could backfire. Oh, so here, giving opinion. So we have an opinion word, from my perspective. Make sure you use from my. Don't say in my perspective. Because yes, absolutely, in my opinion, from my perspective. So just notice the different preposition. From my perspective, this could backfire. Oh, this is a really great one. To backfire. Do you know what this means? It could have the opposite result. To have the opposite result or an unintended negative result. So let's say the 2 people agree finally, and you are aligned. So you fire the marketing company. But now that you don't have a contract with them, they go to your competitor and they take all the information they learned from your company and they give it to the competitor. It backfired because you thought by firing the marketing company, it would help your company improve. But by firing the marketing company, it damaged your company. So that's what I mean by the opposite result. It doesn't necessarily have to be opposite as in hot, cold, but you expected something positive and you got something negative. Okay. So it could backfire. It could backfire. That's a very important word. You don't have to use this just in a business context. You can use this in any context as well. Yeah, from my perspective, her plan will backfire, whatever that plan is. Yeah, very good. Ooh, Miriam, from my perspective, this could backfire. So let's table this discussion until tomorrow. I love this. I love this. Yeah, this could backfire. So let's table this discussion. Let's postpone this discussion. Let's not discuss this right now. And this is firing the marketing company. Oh, really nicely done. Yeah, just notice that sentence structure because it's not could be backfire. Your verb is to backfire. There's no verb to be. So you use modal, could, base verb, backfire. So backfire is the verb. So you would say our plan backfired, fired, ed. So the pronunciation is just a soft D. Our plan backfired. We wanted a positive result. We got a negative result. So our plan backfired. Let's keep going, everyone. Add that to your vocabulary. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence about that idea. I'm on the fence. So there in the meeting, there's one person you're discussing, should you fire the marketing company? Let's say 7 people want to fire them, 2 people want to keep them, and 1 person is on the fence. So that person can argue both ways. They see the positives of firing them and they see the positives of keeping them. I'm on the fence. Oh, I'm on the fence. I'm undecided. You can see the pros and cons of both situation. You can use this with anything at all. I'm on the fence. Where should we go for dinner tonight? We can have Italian or Japanese. Oh, I'm on the fence. I'm craving both of them. Or I like them both equally. I'm on the fence. So you don't have to use this in a formal business setting. You can use this in an everyday setting when you're undecided. It doesn't mean that you're neutral. It means you have not made up your mind. So in your mind, you don't know, is it a good idea? Is it a bad idea? You don't know because you can see pros and cons for both situation. So neutral is more like you don't have an opinion. Maybe because you've never met the marketing company, your job is not affected by the marketing company, so you don't have an opinion. That's more to be neutral. So it's not neutral, it's just you haven't decided. Oh, I am on the fence about, and then the something about going, and you don't go to abroad, you just go abroad. I'm on the fence about going abroad. Exactly. Exactly. Ooh, great example. I'm on the fence about changing jobs. Now, in the past, what would you say? In the past, this is a great example. I was on the fence about getting married, but now you're not. Something happened until I talked it over with my parents, or until I talked it over with my best friend, until I talked it over with a therapist, my neighbor, whoever. I was on the fence about getting married. So in the past, but not now, because your verb is the verb to be. Okay. Let's keep going, everyone. I see it differently. Very simple statement, right? Only 4 words. I see it differently. So if someone is arguing for a specific perspective, so someone is saying all the reasons why the marketing company is terrible and should be fired. They're talking, 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 talking. They stop talking. You can simply say, I see it differently. I see it differently. So you're not arguing, you're not saying, no, you're wrong, you're wrong. That's silly. Why would you say that? So it's a more neutral way of telling the person that you do not agree with them. Because saying things like, you're wrong, I don't agree, that can cause the other person to be defensive or to feel attacked. So this is a very neutral way of sharing an opposite opinion or a different opinion. It doesn't have to be the opposite, just a different opinion. I see it differently. And then you can provide the reasons why you think the marketing company is doing a great job, for example. Oh, Miriam said, I saw it differently. So notice the verb in the past simple. I saw it differently, it being the situation. I saw it differently. That's why I wrapped the discussion up immediately. Really nicely, John, or really nicely done. Great job. Love it. Ooh, I see it differently. We could be blindsided. I see it differently. It could backfire. Ooh, how about that? Yeah, exactly, Natalia. It sounds softer and it sounds more polite. I completely agree with you. Great job. Let's keep going. How about this? That's a fair point. Instead of saying that's a good point, you can say fair. Fair. That's a fair point. You're saying it's reasonable or it's valid. It doesn't necessarily mean you agree with it, though. It simply means that's true. It's like saying that's true. That's true. So, for example, the reason why they want to fire the marketing company is the marketing company costs $20,000 per month. So it's a large expense for your business. And you agree, $20,000 per month, that is a lot of money. So you can acknowledge that even if you still want to keep the marketing company, you can acknowledge that and say, that's a fair point. And then maybe you explain why that money is justified or why that's a good use of money. Or you just end it there. You don't even have to add anything else. That's a fair point. So fair, reasonable, valid, true. You understand why they said it. That's a fair point. How about this? We might be overcomplicating this. Ooh, sometimes you need someone in the room. It's a simple question. Fire the marketing company, keep the marketing company. We've been discussing this for weeks. We've completed countless exercises analyzing the pros and the cons. We might be overcomplicating this. Overcomplicating, making something more complex than necessary. It doesn't need to be so complex. It's an easy decision. It should have taken us a day. It's been weeks. We might be overcomplicating this. Now, notice again, to sound a little softer, you can use modal verbs. We might be overcomplicating this. Because if you simply say, we are overcomplicating this, then you are stating it as a fact. We are overcomplicating this. When you say we might be, you're introducing it as a possibility, not a fact. And when you introduce something as a possibility, it sounds softer. Ooh, we might be overcomplicating this. Let's wrap this topic up for now. So let's end this topic for now. Very nicely done. We might be overcomplicating this lesson. I mean, we just spent 35 minutes reviewing one idiom. Maybe we're overcomplicating this. We probably could have learned it in 5 minutes. We might be overcomplicating this. Well done. Well done. Let's go on to problems, delays, and difficult situations. It wouldn't be life without these. And certainly in business, I would say 50% or more of my to-do list is the result of problems, delays, and difficult situations. Let's keep going. We've run into a few issues. So remember before I explained I need to run this idea by you, to run something by someone. But if you run into a few issues, it means you encounter these issues, which are negative. So you could say problems, and it was unexpected. So you're updating your website. That is the task. You have to update a website. And you know how to do it. But as you're updating it, you keep getting an error message, or you're trying to add an image and it just has a little thumbnail and it's not generating properly. So you can say, oh, I ran into a few problems as I was updating my website, because you know how to do this. You've done it before. So it was unexpected. So that would be, I've ran into a few issues. So your verb is to run, and in this sentence is conjugated in the present perfect. In this case, the present perfect is used to show that connection to the present. So you ran into the issues 10 minutes ago, but you're presenting it as so now. So now our website is down. So now users can't download the free speaking guide because this is from my website. So now there's a result in the present. That's why they're using the present perfect here. We might not be overcomplicating this because we have already run into a few issues. Exactly. So you could use it in the negative. We might not be overcomplicating this. I love it. Well done. We've run into a few issues lately. Exactly. Let's keep going. How about this? This is turning into a bottleneck. Ooh, a bottleneck. Do you know this expression? You can use this in a business context, of course. This is often used in daily life to talk about traffic. You're driving on the highway and everything is going well, and then all of a sudden there's one point in the highway where traffic is always so slow. Because at that one point in the highway, multiple lanes merge in, and maybe equally a lane is an exit. So there's an entrance and an exit right in this specific part of the highway. That part of the highway is a bottleneck. A bottleneck. Okay. That's the point where progress slows. So we do commonly use this to talk about traffic. Oh, don't take that route. There's always a bottleneck. There's always a bottleneck. Don't take that route. So if you hear that, they're talking about there's some point where progress slows. Now, maybe deciding whether you should keep the marketing company or fire the marketing company is turning into a bottleneck because you're using this marketing company for a conference that you're planning. And you have all these tasks that need to be completed, but you're stuck on this one task, hiring or firing the marketing company. And because of it, you're not doing all the other tasks that need to be done. So this decision is a bottleneck. It's the point where progress slows down. Okay. So, in a discussion, in a project, in a work context, anything that is just taking a really long time can be a bottleneck, a bottleneck, a point where progress slows down, a bottleneck. So, that is an excellent one to know. Let's keep going. There's been a holdup on their end. Okay, so this is a very simple term, but it's very commonly used. So notice when you learn new vocabulary, you always have to understand what part of speech is it. So is it a verb? Is it a noun? Is it an adjective? Is it an adverb? Is it a phrasal verb? Is it a group of words that have one meaning? So is it an idiom or an expression? So in this case, what is it? What is the type of word? What part of speech is it? And that's so important because it tells you the overall grammar, because you can't form an idea just with the one word. You need the grammar. And this is also why it's important. No, it's not a phrasal verb, although this can be used as a phrasal verb. But here in this sentence, it is not a phrasal verb. No, you guys, I'm surprised. Really? There's a very obvious clue. A very obvious clue. Yeah. Ashen and Husseini. Yes. A noun. And how do you know? How do you know? This is important because the article, an article would never come before a phrasal verb. Just grammatically, it would never happen. So grammatically, it has to be a noun because you see an article, a holdup. So it's a delay, a delay. Yes, hold up is also a phrasal verb. But to see it as a phrasal verb, you might say we need something to hold up the picture. Okay. So in this sentence, it is a phrasal verb. And the key here for me, what I would instantly notice is to hold up. So I would notice the infinitive. And then after that, that's the first thing I would notice. Then I would look at the full sentence and I would say, okay, we have a subject, we have a verb, we have an object, and then we have an infinitive. So I would understand the overall sentence structure as well. Okay. So to hold up in the sentence I gave you means to secure. So to secure a picture. So I can hold up a weight. For example, right now I'm holding up my phone. So that can be the meaning of the phrasal verb. You could also say, okay, I'm just typing this now. What about this? That discussion held us up. I'm not talking about kept us in place or secured us like I would. I'm holding up my phone. Can you hold up the slide for me? So if you physically hold up a slide so someone can see what you wrote, can you hold up the slide? Okay. But that discussion held us up. Now, here to understand the grammar, I would see a conjugated verb. And I would understand also that it's in the past simple. So that discussion delayed us because a delay is a noun, but delay is a verb. So it's the same as that discussion held us up. That discussion delayed us. Okay, because delay is equally, oh, wrong one, sorry. That discussion held us up. That discussion delayed us. So yes, it is a phrasal verb to hold up. Something like a discussion holds someone up. But in here, there's been a holdup. There's been a delay. So you could equally say there's been a delay. There's been a delay. There's been a delay. So a holdup equals a delay. All right, I'm glad we cleared that up because it's a very important distinction between seeing something and understanding. It can be a noun, it can be a verb or a phrasal verb, and then it can have different meanings depending on context. How about this? We're still working through the details. If you work through something, you resolve it and you do it gradually. So step by step. I might say, oh, I'm still working through why my website isn't working. So I'm resolving it, but gradually, step by step. So first I determine the problem, then I determine the solution, then I try, then I test, then I adjust, and then I test. So that would be working through it. We're still working through the details. How about this? Ooh, that solution is a short-term fix. So here, this is a noun phrase because we have a fix. So fix is the noun, but then short term describes the noun. What type of fix? So fix is another word for solution. We need a solution. We need a fix, a fix. So yes, fix is a verb. I need to fix my website. We need a fix by EOD. What does EOD mean, everyone? We learned this before. I need to fix my website. Fix is a verb. We need a fix by EOD. We need a fix by EOD. We need a solution. Now, short term describes the fix. So it functions as the adjective. A short term is more of a temporary solution. So if my website is just not working at all, I might need to change the URL of one of the pages. But that's just a temporary solution because I don't actually want to change the URL. I want to keep my current URL, but I just need a temporary solution until I understand, until I figure out why my URL isn't working. That was just an example I thought of, okay? So a temporary solution. We need a fix, a short-term fix. All right. And yes, good job, everyone. EOD is end of day. Love it. Love it. Awesome. Thank you for remembering, everyone. Okay. We're going to wrap up soon. Actually, yes. We will do one more and then we will wrap up because now you know what that means. So let's move on to decision making and moving forward. So making progress. We've made our decision. We're going to fire the marketing company. So now we need to move forward. We need to actually fire them, maybe hire someone new, do something else. You can say at the end of the day, it comes down to budget. This could be the reason why you fire the marketing company. And you can say this directly to them. You can say, we appreciate the work you've done, but we have to let you go. At the end of the day, it comes down to budget. You're letting them know that the reason why it comes down to, that's the main reason why, the main motivation, the main deciding factor. It comes down to budget. It comes down to budget. So budget means the amount of money you have available for specific things. You have a marketing budget, you have an administration budget, you have an office supplies budget. So the marketing budget, the amount of money, that's the main reason why. It comes down to budget. You might say, I'd love to improve my English, but it comes down to time. Time is the main deciding factor. So it implies you don't have enough time, even without saying it. So at the end of the day, at the end of the day does not mean at 5:00 p.m. today. It just means ultimately, overall. Okay. At the end of the day is an alternative for ultimately. Overall, it comes down to budget. So that is definitely a great one. You can have at the end of the day as an alternative to ultimately, or ultimately overall. And then it comes down to it being my decision or our decision. The reason comes down to budget. So said another way, it would be budget is the main reason why. Okay. All right, everyone. I keep listening to English, but it comes down to speaking. Exactly. And no, you can't say get down. No, you have to use to come down to something always. It comes down to. So someone might ask you like, oh, why did you decide to travel to Canada for your vacation? It came down to the cost. We found a really great deal. Or it came down to the language. We wanted to be immersed in English, for example. It came down to. So you can use it in an everyday context as well. Wow, everyone, the time definitely flew by. And don't forget, you can download this free speaking guide. All the examples I gave you about my website being down, hopefully they were just examples. I do not think there's any problem with the website. So you can absolutely go to my website, download this free speaking guide, and it will be emailed to you. And also, if you want to keep learning these expressions, if you want my personalized support, because there were many mistakes and I didn't get a chance to even listen to your pronunciation. So I don't know if you're pronouncing them correctly. So if you want my support, you can keep learning, keep improving your English directly in the Finally Fluent Academy. It comes down to results. If you want real results, then you'll join the Finally Fluent Academy and I will have you as my next student. And put yes in the comments if you enjoyed this lesson. Do you want to keep going? Did you enjoy these business English expressions? Is that a topic that interests you? If it does, or if you do want to keep going, put yes, yes, yes in the comments below. And of course, like this lesson, show your support. It's a simple thing you can do. And subscribe so you're notified every time I post a new lesson. And if you subscribe, then YouTube will tell you when I go live as well. And remember, I said that I share different video ideas. I run things by you in the community section of my YouTube channel as well. So if you're subscribed, YouTube will tell you when I share those ideas. So if you want the opportunity to provide feedback, well, then subscribe as well because you will get that opportunity. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I had a great time and I will see you in my next one. Bye, everyone.